the son of a Badgers legend, coming to Camp Randall Stadium this weekend on a football recruiting visit. I'm Adam Mertz, the Wisconsin State Journal and madison.com, joined by Ben Wargel of BadgerNation.com. Ben, tell me about Troy Vincent Jr., prospect in the 2014 class coming in this weekend, and who else the Badgers are entertaining.
Yeah, father like son. I mean, Troy Vincent Jr. From the East Coast, Georgetown Prep High School out there in Maryland area. Plays cornerback, safety like his dad did here, and very talented kid, has a lot of offers. You really kind of look at him and kind of the direction he's heading. He's not kind of an under-the-radar kid. He has a lot of interest from a lot of East Coast schools. Obviously, Wisconsin likes him because of the connection with his dad. Wisconsin's done really well, kind of with those connections in the past. You look at just like the Watt family, for instance, with J.J. Watt coming through here, then Derek Watt here now, and T.J. Watt coming in the future, and George Panos and Joe Panos, the connection there. George Panos is a 2014 kid. Troy Vincent Jr., a 2014 junior, meaning this will be an unofficial visit this weekend. Important for him to come on campus and kind of get that experience and get his opinion of what the University of Wisconsin is, let alone than what his dad's opinion is as well.
Well, to say it's different than a Nick Toon or Al Toon, because Nick grew up in the back door here. He saw what the experience was like, and I imagine that Troy Vincent Jr. doesn't have that same background. I mean, his dad was off playing in the NFL and probably didn't get back here very often in terms of showing his son what Badger football is all about.
Yeah, another great father-son combo that you mentioned, and it's a great point too, because Troy Vincent obviously sees the history from Wisconsin. He sees it from the angle of his dad. His dad played here many years ago, another coaching staff ago. So now he's going to come here. He's going to see what this Wisconsin coaching staff has to offer him. Obviously, Camp Randall has changed. The campus has changed a little bit. Kind of the environment has changed. It's kind of a different era now than when Troy Vincent Sr. was here. So that will be important for him to kind of get his own recruiting visit, let alone know what his dad has to say about it.
Still stunned that they got Troy Vincent when this program was at that stage in the late 80s. Like you said, it's an entirely different era. One thing that hasn't changed in recent years is the fact that Wisconsin has done very well at going into Minnesota and getting the prospects that come out of there, which aren't as frequent, as you mentioned, in terms of real blue chip kids. But with the Gophers coming into town this weekend, I want to bring up that topic again. How the Badgers have done in Minnesota and what that's done for their program through the years here.
Well, you look at their roster, it's not littered with Minnesota kids. There's only, I believe, 3 or 4 scholarship kids, but the kids they've gotten were really blue chip players in Minnesota. I mean, you imagine a guy like Brendan Kelly being on Minnesota's roster, what he's been able to bring to Wisconsin the last 2 years. A guy like Bo Allen, who Minnesota heavily recruited. Bo Allen from Minnetonka High School, and he chose Wisconsin over a number of schools, including Notre Dame. A guy like in next year's recruiting class, Keelan Brookins, who was a Minnesota commit, to flip that commitment over the past summer. And even though he's going through another ACL and MCL surgery, really is upbeat, really positive with his outlook going forward. I mean, these are guys that Wisconsin goes after over the border. Not a ton of guys, but when they go after a kid and they can take him away from Minnesota, it's just not a boost to them, but it also hurts kind of what Minnesota's effort is. The Gophers have really been trying to establish building that state boundary that Wisconsin has. They just haven't had a lot of success doing it. I mean, you look at a lot of the blue chippers in Minnesota over the last couple of years, they're rarely staying in state to play for the Gophers, and that's a huge blow to that coaching staff.
Ben, thanks for your insight this week. You can get more on BadgerNation.com and follow us all week leading into this Minnesota game at the Wisconsin State Journal and madison.com.